I will be sharing with you today who Elisa Lam was, what happened to her at the Hotel Cecil, what you need to know about the Hotel Cecil, the most popular theories related to Elisa's death, and my theory related to what happened. I hope that the comments can be respectful. We need to keep in mind, ultimately, at the end of the day, there's a victim, that's a human person, and their family. And really, that's where my heart is. Let's dive in to who Elisa Lam was. Elisa Lam was a Canadian woman at the age of 21 at the time of her death. She was born in April 1991, and she attended the University of Vancouver for several years. However, she was never able to complete a degree there. And in fact, one of the things that really struck me when I dug deep into Elisa's blog, which I did do. As a blogger, micro-influencer, I would want people to go back and look at my old posts if something happened to me. I do think about the fact that Elisa would be turning 30 this year. She would be the same age as me if she was alive. Her Tumblr does give us a lot of insight into what Elisa's mental state was in the year leading up to her death. I will include some snippets here. Essentially, Elisa was depressed, and she was very open about her depression. I'm depressed. I'm someone who's very open about my depression. It's literally in my Instagram bio that I deal with anxiety and depression. So this girl was very self-aware, in my opinion. Now, was I self-aware in 2013? Gosh, I was 23, 24. No, I was a totally different woman. But in reading Elisa's Tumblr posts, she seems like a very self-aware woman. She talks about only having completed 3 university classes in the span of 3 years. She gives the example that she has failed to attend less classes than she's actually attend. She does not hesitate to explain that she cannot get to sleep at night. She suffers from insomnia that is due to her depression. She stays up all night. She's unable to get into a regular sleep pattern. So, if she's staying up all night with anxiety and depression about the fact that she's staying up all night, and then has class the next day, needs to sleep so she can't get to that class. I mean, that is a vicious cycle for someone's mental state, and and body, quite frankly, their physical state. I really feel for her that she was going through that. I think college is hard enough for young women, and for her to be struggling with such heavy things, she was always dealing with that. And it seems as her Tumblr progresses that she went from describing herself as depressed to describing herself as both anxious and depressed. Shortly before Elisa came to the United States in January 2013, which is when this case takes place, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder by her family doctor in Canada. Now, I do want to just say here that we are going to continue going through the facts of Elisa's case, and we're going to look at a video of Elisa. I want us to do this with the utmost respect for her and her life. She's no longer with us, so let's be respectful of her life, and let's not diminish her case in any way or diminish the facts of her case because she was suffering from a mental health issue. Whether or not, and I also just want to say, I'm not a mental health professional at all. So I do want us, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I really want us to keep in mind that she had this recent diagnosis, and that she was so open with people online about her mental health. However, we are simply also not going to go the other way and write off her case or write off things that were missed by explaining it away with her mental illness. I feel strongly that in the true crime, I feel strongly that police rely heavily on substance abuse, mental illness, those types of factors when they come into an otherwise unrelated case like potentially domestic abuse, murder, an unexplained death like we have in the case of Elisa Lam, that the police will sort of rest on their laurels, rest on a mental health diagnosis, will rest on a substance abuse issue to further explain someone's injuries or death. From her blog and her Tumblr, it seems pretty clear she had this trip in the works for a while. She was calling it her West Coast tour, and she was so excited. Also known as the Hotel Cecil, the Cecil Hotel was erected in downtown Los Angeles on Main Street in approximately 1927. The hotel, of course, quickly fell into disarray, as did the entirety of the American economy several years later as we entered the Great Depression. Lisa was staying within walking distance from Skid Row. The Cecil Hotel is really well known in pop culture, and you guys probably know lots of references right off the top of your head to the Cecil Hotel, but it's actually where serial killer Richard Ramirez stayed for one solid year in the 80s. It's also known as the Night Stalker. Stayed in the top floor of the Cecil Hotel, would come in bloody through the lobby, would go up to his room, stayed there, and left to go murder women. It was referenced, and it was the hotel that they utilized for American Horror Stories hotel season. So Elisa was staying in a hostel attached to the Cecil Hotel that only went up 7 stories. The Cecil Hotel itself is 14 stories. So for a young blogger with a Tumblr who loves rooftop views at night, the hostel probably wasn't as exciting. Cecil Hotel has marble, gold filigree interior, in some instances some mirrors, marble columns, marble floors. So is it in the best possible condition? No, I think that I probably would have been in the same position that Elisa was in. She checked into her hostel and had, I believe, 2 or 3. I'm not sure, but it was definitely 2 or 3 other roommates. Shortly after Elisa checked in, she was actually moved to a different room, not in the hostel, but in the Cecil Hotel. Her roommates complained that she was exhibiting very strange behavior and they did not want to room with her. There was no more information given, either to the police, to the front desk workers. I have scoured the internet, so if anybody's aware of any sort of police report or police interview transcript with actual details on how the roommates felt Elisa was being weird, please let me know below. It's interesting because on Elisa's Tumblr, she makes a post about the Cecil Hotel while she was staying there. She says that it's in a bad part of town, that she sees its grandeur, she sees its appeal, but of course, since it's located in downtown Los Angeles, her words not mine, it's cracked. I don't know what she meant exactly by that, but I think that she was pretty clear that it was a cool hotel, Art Deco style with a lot of potential, but it was very run down to her, in her opinion. She actually even says that she thinks it would be the perfect space to film the Great Gatsby movie in. In LA, once she was there, staying at the Cecil Hotel, she actually went to a taping of the Conan O'Brien show, you guys. She did a lot of different things. Shopped around, always exploring by foot. She went to the last bookstore. She was seen, she was happy, she was normal, wasn't necessarily experiencing a psychotic break or a manic episode at the last bookstore on the afternoon of January 31st. So now here's where our story takes a turn. She was checking in with her parents multiple times a day or daily, and she spoke with them on January 31st. She did not speak with her parents on February 1st. She has now broken this pattern of weeks and weeks of daily contact in this new country, assuring her parents everything's great on my West Coast tour. So what do her parents do? Immediately on February 1st, 2013, they contacted the LAPD. They reported Elisa missing. It also did line up that she checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 27th, and she was scheduled to check out on February 1st. So when she didn't check out and show up at the front desk to leave her key, to sign paperwork, and actually check out of the hotel and go through that process, there was even more reason for concern. So the police begin to get involved in this case. They do search the Cecil Hotel thoroughly. They search the room she was staying in. They interview hotel employees. They even take police dogs throughout the hotel. They take police dogs up on the roof. They're searching everywhere for this girl, and they cannot find her anywhere. The police gave their first press conference on February 6th. They were letting the public know about Elisa's disappearance and just generally asking for public support. The second police statement came on February 13th, 2013, with the release of the elevator video of Elisa Lam. Now, I do want to say that I think at the time, the police could only be thinking one of two things in releasing this video. They were thinking either this will bring someone forward, this will help us in some way, someone will be able to see this woman and come tell us, oh yes, we saw her, she was XYZ. I guess what I'm saying is the police had to think one of two things. They had to think that releasing this video would help solve the case, or they did it intentionally, knowing that this video would sensationalize the entire country, because that's exactly what happened. If you're unfamiliar with the Elisa Lam elevator video, it has been described by a lot of people as very scary, creepy. People have even said that it looks like demonic possession, that she's playing a haunted elevator game. They have said everything under the sun about how terrifying this poor girl looks in this video. But at the end of the day, all it is a video of a 21-year-old woman trying to figure out why the elevator door won't shut. That's what I'm seeing. And when I very first saw the video in 2013, that's not how I felt. It scared the out of me. I think the fact that there's a lack of sound in the video, that there's a total redaction of the timestamp and the ticking of the seconds and the minute and the milliseconds, all of that is redacted in the lower left corner. That makes things more difficult. And I just feel that at the end of the day, the video is not as scary to me as it was in 2013. I'm going to go ahead and insert the video here, and I will just sort of talk you through what I feel. I would like to say I think it's really strange we only have the elevator footage from one elevator to go off of for this entire case. I think it's absolutely unacceptable that the Cecil Hotel either did have multiple other cameras because of the fact that it's a 14-story hotel with 700 rooms that's been in existence since 1924, and this was 2013. Either it has multiple other cameras and there's other footage out there that we haven't seen for whatever reason. Seems like she's dealing with an old rinky-dink hotel elevator that won't close. She seems like she's smiling and good-natured as she sort of leans back here. She peers out again. You know, what could be causing this elevator door to not close? She looks left, she looks right. She is stepping outside of the elevator slowly now. And I can't really tell if she's looking for someone here. It is possible she's looking to see if the coast is clear, if there was someone stalking her. However, it also does, from another standpoint, really, I can see both. It does also look like she is trying to see if maybe if I step off the elevator, it will maybe it's a weight thing. And the whole you can see her tuck her hair behind her ears and just kind of be like, not really sure if it's me or the sensor, the door. I don't really know what to do with this. And she walks in one more time. The door doesn't close like it should. There's been a million buttons pressed at this point. And I think the elevator door was just jamming. I really think it was malfunctioning. If not, someone was messing with her. Sadly for Elise and her family, this elevator footage would be the last time she was seen, and it would take the police a total of 19 days, almost 3 solid weeks, almost 21 days to find Elisa. I strongly feel that the police and the Cecil Hotel were somewhat aware of what happened to Elisa before they released the video. I do strongly feel that the video was released to create all of this discussion about her mental health diagnosis, the fact that she was bipolar, the fact that she was in a psychiatric break at the time, or a manic moment. God, I hope no one has elevator footage of me talking to myself about how much I hate my job, because it's out there and I probably look crazy. They had to know at the time that they released this video to the public that the fact it didn't have any sound, the fact that they redacted the time that it was taken, really what can the public do with that besides sensationalize it? The focus. It was no longer this poor 21-year-old girl who is traveling alone from a different country is missing. It's look how weird this girl's hands look. She is freaking terrifying. To put the video that the police released into perspective, it got about 3 million views and 40,000 comments in the first week that the police released it. Weeks passed and Elisa was nowhere to be found. Finally, on September 18th, the police would find her body. The way that the police found her body is, I believe, a further reason that this case has been sensationalized, because it is so shocking. Residents of the Cecil Hotel and guests that were staying short term as well were reporting the water. The water in their rooms had a discoloration to it. It would pour out of the tap black for the first 2 to 4 seconds that the water was turned on, and thereafter it would run yellow to clear, but it had a very foul smell to it. Multiple people were complaining about the water to the point that a maintenance worker had to go up to the roof and look at the water tank. Unfortunately, when this worker got up to the roof, he climbed the ladder that was attached to the water tank to get up to the hatch, which is a square, sort of rectangular opening that you can get down into the water tank or, for whatever reason, open it if needed. He was surprised when he got up to the top of the water tank to find that the hatch was actually open. The lid had been removed. And as he leaned forward and peered into the hatch, he could see the body face up floating of an Asian woman who would be determined to be Elisa Lam. The Independent interviewed a longtime resident of the Cecil Hotel. His name is Bernard Diaz, and he was 89 years in 2013 when he gave this statement, but he had lived at the Cecil Hotel for 32 years consecutively. And he told the Los Angeles Times, which the Independent quoted, that he'd heard a tremendous racket on the floor above on the night Lam disappeared. So literally on Lam's floor that she was staying on. Police said the only routes to the roof where her body was found would be either via the fire escape or a locked, alarmed door that was accessible to hotel staff only. So again, I go back to my sort of one-off side theory that there could have been a hotel staff employee that was stalking her. I would like to know what they found related to that, like, did the police look into the noise? Overall, before I dive into my theories, I feel very strongly about this, and I just want to put it out there. It's not necessarily a theory, but it's a very strong feeling that I have overall about this case. And it's that being in a water tank is not an accident. I don't care what mental health issues you are struggling with. I have depression, I have anxiety. I don't feel like I'll ever wind up in a water tank by accident. There are a few other theories out there. I will touch on some that do make a little sense. There are others that I'm not even going to get into. Like, she retweeted a HuffPost article about an invisibility cloak that was being developed for the military, and people think that because she retweeted a HuffPost article, she went missing. Like, I'm not even going to waste my time on stuff like that. But, or the elevator game, for example, that she's playing some elevator game, and instead of like chilling with a woman in another dimension, she wound up in the water tank. No, we're not going to insult her life that way. Overall, I would have to classify my theory as the police didn't try hard enough here. They didn't do a good enough job. Again, my theory, I don't know how her Tumblr kept posting for months after her death, but they do look very consistent with her overall aesthetic and like posts that she would have queued to post on her page. But that's really it for me today, guys, on the death of Elisa Lam. I consider this to be an unsolved mystery, like many in the true crime community do. And I just appreciate you taking your time and watching this video. My heart goes out to Elisa's sister and her parents. What happened to her is absolutely tragic, and I do feel that their wrongful death lawsuit should have been allowed to continue. I don't think that anybody, as a young girl in a very popular hotel water tank, naked and dead, that's not an accident. And my heart really goes out to them. My heart goes out to Elisa. I'm really hopeful for the upcoming Netflix documentary. It will be very interesting to see if we learn any new facts in this case, if they reveal any new evidence, any new videos. What do you guys think? I want to know your theories. I want to know what you think happened to Elisa. What did her last day look like? How did she wind up on the roof? Was she alone? Was she with somebody? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. And as always, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing, liking, just really for watching, for your time. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.